Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with a brand new Discord JS tutorial. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make a different type of role reaction bot. Basically, the way it works is you're going to type in a command. It's going to display this embed message with all of the roles available, and then it's going to tag on the reactions that you can use to add yourself to the role. And yeah, so let's go. Author is a bot, and if it is, we're going to return because we want to make sure we have that case handled, just to prevent the bot from spamming itself on the server. Next, I'm going to check the content of the message just to make sure it's equal to the command $roles. Okay. Now, basically, once we type in this command, it's going to send an embed message. So we're going to want to bring in the rich embed class because that's going to allow us to actually create embed messages. So we're going to say const embed equals new rich embed. And if I do something like embed.set title server roles, and if I do something like embed dot let's see, color, or I think it's set color, right? And this takes in the color resolvable. I think blue would work. And then message dot channel send, and then paste that there. So our bot is logged in. So let's try this out. Hopefully it doesn't fail me. There we go. Prints out or sends an embed message just like that. Well, obviously it doesn't look like this, but we're going to add the roles now. Okay, so let me go back to the code. All right, so before I'm gonna comment that out. Obviously you can set the color to whatever you want. You can pass in a color resolvable, which is just a string, or you can also pass in a hexadecimal value. So it's up to you. So let's go ahead and do embed.setDescription. And we're going to have to kind of like format our string a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass in the emoji name with the ID. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So on your Discord server, if you have custom emojis set up, so for example, I have these emojis over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to simply do /. I'm going to type in the emoji that I want. So Snapchat emoji. Right, so if I did Snapchat like that, that would give me the actual, whoops, to be uppercase. That would give me that emoji because I have it set custom. Right, but what you're going to do is you're going to copy this in right over here. Okay, and we're going to paste that in here. Right in this line over here. This will actually allow the bot to send the emoji in the embed message like that. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's save and let's go over to Discord and let's go ahead and do question mark roles. As you can see, that emoji is actually sent inside the embed message. If I go back to the code, right, if I go and if I just did Snapchat : right, and let's if I did question mark roles, notice how it just does that. So you have to make sure you have it formatted the way I have right over here, and you can simply get this by just simply doing the less than symbol, the name of the emoji, and then the ID of the emoji, and then the greater than symbol. But if you just go into the server and just simply escape it, just like the way I did it, you should be more than fine. So let's say Snapchat. Let's do a simple /n. And let's see, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the next role. So let's do Facebook. Alright, so that's going to be the Facebook. And I'm also going to do the other ones too as well. So let's do Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Alright, so let me go back here. And we're going to say Facebook. Oh, why is that giving me that? I guess I should just concatenate them all together as strings. Alright, so let's do... Nope, we want to do Twitter now. Let's go and do that. And we're just going to say Twitter. I'm going to concatenate it with YouTube. Okay, and obviously you can go ahead and put as much as you want. I think there is a limit of a certain amount of characters, but you shouldn't really have to worry about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that. Let's go back to our server and let's do question mark roles. And as you can see, it perfectly sends all the emojis with the proper description, just like that. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to delete the message after a couple seconds, after some time has passed, because we don't want the server to get spammed up with that, obviously. But before we do that, we're also going to add a couple of reactions to the message, to the embed message, so that way it shows users which emojis that they can react with. Well, not really, but it kind of just like makes it easier for them. And also you want to make sure you have the permissions set so that people can't add additional reactions to messages, just so you can keep your messages cleaned up. But it won't be a problem though if you just delete the message after, like, 15-20 seconds, but it's up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if message.embeds. Okay, so if an embed message does exist in that message, right? Now keep in mind, remember, we're inside the if message.author.bot scope, because we're only checking this case if the message was sent by a bot. Okay, so we're going to say const embed message equals, so I'm going to get the correct embed message because we're going to use that to actually react to the bot. Find, and then message, where message.title, server roles. So the reason why I'm doing server roles is because that's the title of the embed message that we're checking for, and this is going to return the correct embed message. So if embed message, so if it is not null, what are we going to do? We're going to say embed message.message. So this is right here is an embed message, and that class has a property called message. Okay, we're going to say react. So this is going to actually react to the message, and we're going to pass in the ID of the emoji we want to react with. So this returns a promise, and in that promise it returns a message reaction. So we're going to just simply, I'm just going to simply do console.log reacted with, and then reaction dot emoji dot name, just to show you guys how that works. So if I save that, let's just do question mark roles, and you can see it adds the Snapchat emoji just like that. Okay, and if in our terminal we see reacted with Snapchat. Alright, so let's go ahead and add a couple more reactions. So remember, this react function returns a reaction. So inside this reaction, we're going to react to the message again with another emoji. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say reaction dot message dot react. I'm going to pass in the Facebook emoji. Now remember, this function over here returns a promise. Okay, so we're kind of like returning this whole thing, and we're going to simply do that 2 more times. So reaction. So since this returns a promise, this will now go into this then function. So we'll just keep going down the promise chain. Okay, and inside this case over here, inside this function, I'm going to do reaction dot message dot react. I'm going to pass in the Twitter emoji, and finally we're going to pass in the YouTube one. Reaction dot message react. Okay, and that should add all of our current reactions. So let's go ahead and check that out real quick. So let's go ahead and do roles. And as you can see, it adds all of the reactions that we specify, right? And obviously, again, you want to make sure you have this permission, use external emojis, set to off, and add reactions set to off, just like that. Well, actually, no, you just have to make sure you have add reactions set to that, but it won't affect. So you're gonna notice right over here that let me bring this open. So let me bring in my console, or actually let me do this real quick. So let's do question mark roles, and you're gonna see it prints out all the role names. That is being printed out from the message reaction add event, because remember, we're reacting to the message, so it's gonna emit the message reaction add event. Okay, and we're printing out the names of the emojis that we are reacting with. So it works. Okay, well, we haven't added the user yet to the role, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's do, hold on, let's do Okay, so we get the role name. So we need to actually get the role now. Okay, so we're going to do var role equal, and what do I want to do? I want to do I want to use client, or I guess I could do message, not message, reaction dot message dot guild dot roles, and then find where the role dot name is equal to role name. And I'm just going to do 2 lowercase just to be safe. Okay, so that's going to give us the actual role. Now we need to get the member. So var member is equal to reaction dot message dot guild dot members dot find, or whoops, members dot find, and we're going to do member.id equals user dot id, just like that. Okay, and then now we're going to do member dot add role, and this returns a promise. So we're going to first pass in the role dot id, and then we're going to say on default pass in skill member console.log added member dot user dot username to a role, and then we're going to do catch error console dot error. And actually I need to do one more thing real quick. If user dot pot return, there we go. Because I just realized that's going to actually attempt to add the it's going to attempt to add the bot to the roles, and we don't want that. Okay, so saving that, let's go back to over here. Okay, and let's go ahead and do, well, first let's remove these roles. Let's do question mark roles. Alright, so let's go ahead and react, and as you can see, just like that, it adds us to the Twitter role. And that should add us to the YouTube role, Facebook role, Snapchat role, just like that. Add its tie to a role. So just like that, it's really that easy. And if you wanted to delete them from the role though, right, that's actually a little bit trickier. It's trickier because basically, if I do something like, let's say, just say if I do question mark roles, right? I can't just unreact from any of these messages despite me having the rules already, right? Because in the previous bot, the message, it was just one message, and you can react to it, and then you can also unreact to it. And when you unreact it, it would remove you from the role. Okay, so, but it's not too hard though. What we're going to do is we're basically going to, every single time in this event, we're going to check if the user has the role, right? If they have the role, then that means we're going to remove them from the role. Okay, if they don't have the role, then we're going to add them to the role. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if member dot roles, okay, and we're going to say dot, I think we're going to use has, yeah. So it takes in a string, but we're going to pass in the ID of the role we want to check. So we're going to do role.id. So if they do, let's just go ahead and say, for now, let's just do user has role. And let me go ahead and go over here, and I have my console out right over here. Let's just do question mark roles real quick. So I have all the roles, as you can see. If I do YouTube, it's going to say user has role. Okay, if I do Twitter, user has role. Facebook, user has role, and then Snapchat, user has role. The reason why it prints out add set to role is because I didn't wrap that inside an else case, but don't worry about that. So if they have the role, instead of doing member.add role, we're going to do member.remove role, pass in the role ID. Okay, and since this returns a promise, we're going to say then and this returns the guild member value. So we're going to say console.log removed member.username from the, and what is it? I guess I want to do role.name role, just to nicely format everything. Okay, and any errors should always be handled accordingly. I'm gonna do that just like that, and likewise down here we're gonna do else, just like that, added, and then we're going to the role dot name role, just like that. All right, so let's go ahead and save that. Let's go back to the bot, question mark roles, and the first thing I'll do is I'll remove the Facebook role. And as you can see, it removed me from the role, and removed aside from the Facebook role, removed myself from the Twitter role, removed myself from the Snapchat role, and then removed myself from the YouTube role, just like that. And yeah, there you go. So it's really that simple. It's not too difficult, and that's pretty much it, really. So hopefully this video made a lot of sense. Probably only took us about, let me see, it took us about 62 lines of code. But yeah, hopefully this video made sense. If you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like, definitely check out other videos, and definitely leave your feedback and some suggestions for future videos. So I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.